James Carson here from Matador Menswear, and today I'm going to be talking about how to tell if your suit jacket actually fits. Now the first thing you want to look at when you're buying a jacket is how the shoulders fit. Now to tell if the shoulders fit properly, put on the jacket and lean against a wall. Now what you want is your shoulder to hit the wall with the jacket at the same time, so you want a flush connection. If your shoulder hits the wall well before the jacket shoulder, then the jacket's going to be too small for you. If your shoulder hits the wall well after the jacket shoulder, then the jacket's probably too big for you. Although you can alter the shoulder, the outcomes are often undesirable and it's a very expensive alteration. The second aspect of the jacket you want to look at is the sleeve length. Now obviously if the sleeves are too short you're going to notice that straight away, or if they're too long probably going to notice that as well. So the rule of thumb is when you've got your hands at your side, you want to be able to see about 1 centimetre to 1.5 centimetres of your shirt sleeve. Obviously as you move your arm up you're going to see more sleeve, so that's kind of irrelevant. What you want to look at is when your arm's at your side, are you seeing a nice centimetre to 1.5 centimetres of shirt sleeve coming through. Now again, stay on the arm. You don't want your bicep or your forearm to be too loose. You want the sleeve of the jacket to match your natural shape of your arm. Obviously you don't want to go too tight, so basically get it as tailored as you can without it starting to pinch. Now remember, you're not going to be standing still in the jacket all the time, you're going to be moving, so you should be able to move your arm without it pinching too much. Now the third thing you want to look at is the length of the jacket. Nowadays with a lot of the younger brands, typically aimed at younger men, you're going to find very short jackets, but generally speaking with a suit jacket, not a blazer, a suit jacket, there's a standard length. And basically it's got to cover your behind and not much more than that. So a good way to test that is to actually extend your arms at your sides, cup your hand like this, and where your fingertips touch your outer thigh is where the jacket should end. Now most of my jackets end a little higher than this because I like them to be not too long, but generally speaking about 1 centimetre to 2 centimetres from this point is where your jacket should end. Now a key point around this if you're buying off the rack is obviously you can make the jacket shorter, you can't make it longer. Now the fourth aspect of the jacket you want to look at is how the chest fits. Now what you want when your jacket's buttoned up with the top button done up, which is how it should be worn on a formal occasion, is there not to be bowing of the lapel. If there's a lot of bowing of the lapel, it shows that the jacket's actually too tight for the person's frame. What you want is the jacket to be flush against your chest so you can fit just a tie down the front, or maybe the tips of your fingers underneath it if you had to. Now on the back of the jacket, same thing applies. Basically you don't want it to be too tight or too loose. Now how do you tell if it's too tight or too loose? A good little trick is to put your hands out as if you were driving, and if you feel there's a lot of tension under your arm where this seam is located on the back, then that's probably too tight. Now the fifth thing I want to talk about is the waist of the jacket. Most people are going to alter this on an off-the-rack jacket, and that's fine. The key thing here is just don't go too skinny. A lot of people resist the temptation to go too skinny. A lot of people will tailor their jackets as tight as humanly possible and then realise as soon as they're moving it's very restrictive. You don't want to do that. You want to have enough room to breathe in your jacket, put on a little bit of weight potentially, and be able to move. So you don't want to show creases on the front. That's a key telltale sign that the jacket's too tight. Now, some clients want to tailor their jackets as tight as humanly possible, which is something I do fight against on a daily basis being a custom tailor, but generally speaking as a rule of thumb you don't want to show creases on the front here. You want to have a little bit of curvature in the back, and you want to accentuate your natural V shape, so accentuate your chest, make your waist look slimmer, basically make you look more in shape. Now the sixth thing I want to talk about is the hem. Obviously people don't generally talk about hems of jackets very often. The hem just means bottom of the jacket. And a key thing here is if your hem's too small, you can't do anything about it because there's no extra fabric. If the hem's too wide, you can bring it in. So how to tell if your hem's too tight is basically on the back of the jacket where the vents are. Most business jackets have got 2 side vents. Some more casual jackets have a centre vent. If those are bowing out when you've got your jacket buttoned up, then the hem is too tight for your body. You basically don't want to buy that jacket. It's not the worst problem to have with a suit, but it generally makes you look overweight. Now something else I want to talk about is the button position of the jacket. Now usually if you're buying something off the rack, the salesperson will never talk about this because you can't change it once it's done. So when you buy a jacket off the rack, the buttonholes on the jacket are already cut and you can't move them. But obviously when you're having something custom made, you can customize everything. Generally speaking, you want to have the button aligned to the slimmest point in your waist. That way, when you button it up, your jacket is going to look as slim as possible. Now, a couple of other little things to look for in suit jacket fits and common problems we see with especially off-the-rack garments are what's called collar gap. Now that's where there's a significant gap between your shirt collar and the collar of the suit. This is very hard to change, so if you find a jacket and you're not comfortable with how much gap there is there, don't buy it. Now, staying on the collar, another thing you can get is what's called collar roll, which means the fabric below your collar on the top of your back has significant rolls, and there's basically extra fabric there. That one can be altered quite easily, but generally speaking, obviously if you find a jacket that doesn't have that, then you're better off. Another little area which people don't often pay much attention to is the sleeve pitch. Now, pitch is the word for where the sleeve is stitched on to the torso, and basically when we're custom making a garment, we can customize this for the customer's natural posture. But generally speaking, if you're buying something off the rack, you want to see a nice smooth drape on the arm and no creases or minimal creases. If you're seeing significant creasing across the arm, then that shows that the jacket arm hasn't been stitched on in natural alignment with how your arm sits. And again, it's something you could get a tailor to basically remove the arm and move the pitch and stitch it back on, but it's a lot of guesswork, and again, it's going to be very expensive and generally won't solve the problem 100%. So that's a key one to look for, and if it's prevalent and you've got a lot of creases and you're not comfortable with how it looks, don't buy it. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in our custom tailoring service and you live in Auckland or the surrounding area, head over to our website where you can make an inquiry. And if you haven't already, sign up to our mailing list below so you don't miss out on any of this free content. Thanks again.